Now then, welcome to another Barnsley Biker video diary. Hey up, would you believe it? Just had a call off Phil. He must have known I was washing bike. He's decided he wants to go for a spin, so we've decided I'm going to meet him in half an hour. I'll just dry this off a little bit. Hopefully we'll not get mucky again. But yeah, he's decided he fancies going for a ride, so we're thinking of heading out Revs and Relics and having a loop down via Retford and up to Happy Cafe. So yeah, go and get my kit on, I suppose, and we'll go and have a spin. Give you a quick walk round, because I don't think I've done a walk round review yet on this, have I? So I'll give you a quick walk round, but and then we'll get kitted up and get on the road. Yeah. Those stains when it dries. Right, give you a walk round. Okay, a closer look at the Triumph Scrambler. I decided to treat myself too. Saw it on the Triumph website in this cosmic yellow colour, which if you watch some of my videos you'll realise I've got a thing about yellow bikes. So, but this did strike me, and to be fair, it's even better in the flesh than it is in the pictures. It's a pearlescent paint, so especially when you get the sun on it, it looks really cool. Okay, I opted for a couple of extras, so I opted to have a little rack so I can put, when I'm out doing my photo shoots and my videoing, I can put a little bag on there with a few bits and pieces in. So I've gone for, I must be getting old in my old age, but I've opted for the heated grips. Yeah, the hands are starting to suffer a little bit, so we've gone for the heated grips, and I've not got the bag on at the moment, but yeah, it's got the bracket there for the rugged bag, as they call it, basically a largish pannier. So again, if I'm going going further and I want to put a few bits and bobs in, I can put the bag on there. So that yeah, so far I think I've done about 300 miles on it so far, and I'll be honest, it's a joy to ride. It's really easy to ride. The power delivery is really relaxed. Plenty of torque low down. I mean, it's producing max torque at half maximum revs, so you don't need to rev it. Pull's great, you know, almost, yeah, use the gearbox, make the most of it, but you don't have to work it hard. So just don't let it labour too much in these early days. I have also opted for, I'm going to be changing the belly pan for the alloy belly pan. Unfortunately it wasn't here in time for me picking the bike up, but I think it'll just sets the bike off a little bit more. So looking forward to that coming. And I've also ordered a grill for the headlight, because yeah, I forgot to spec that when I ordered the bike, so there's a grill for the headlight going to be fitted. But for now, there it is, my Triumph Scrambler, and as I say, absolutely loving it. Okay, I'm going to get a kit on and go and meet up with Phil, and we'll go out for that ride. But while I go and be getting my kit on, just remember, I am the Barnsley Biker. Please like, please subscribe. Until then, I'll see thee. So we had a bit of a technical issue with the microphone, or shall we say it was more of a operator error. So I'm going to give you a little bit of a voiceover and point out some of the points of interest that we pass along the way. So yeah, join us for the ride. We're just leaving Revs and Relics, a nice little petrol-led cafe, serves sandwiches, baguettes, paninis, that sort of thing. Does a nice coffee and a nice tea, and we're heading down Blyth Road, the A634, heading surprisingly through Old Coach down to Blyth and then on towards Retford. So most of the road is passing through what these days is agricultural landscape. The road has been a route between some of the market towns for a long time, but just probably not much more than a mile from Revs and Relics. We're just about to come past it in a moment. There's Roche Abbey on the right hand side of the route we're taking. This is the turn off for Roche Abbey, and that's worth a visit. Like most of the abbeys in this country, it's in ruins these days, but worth a visit. There's a lot of history there. In fact, most of the little towns, villages and hamlets on this way date way back to the Domesday Book, and there's a lot of interesting history in the area if you want to look it up. We like Blyth Road. Blyth Road is a nice twisty flowing road. These days it's 50-mile-an-hour limit all along it, except for we're now coming into Stone, which is one of the little hamlets, just a cluster of a few houses. This house on the right that we've just passed always fascinated me when I was younger. Always dreamed of living there, but hey, we dream of a lot of things. So yeah, as I was saying, this is a nice flowing road, now 50-mile-an-hour limit all along most of it, but still a good ride, and perfect. The tram's a perfect bike for this road. It's so easy and relaxed to ride, and it's that sort of road. Phil keeping his distance. I think he's still camera shy. This road takes you through Old Coates and then on down into Blyth. So as you can see, it's easy to get distracted. There's some glorious views, even though it's flatter than when we ride down in Derbyshire, but some marvellous bends as well. But you do have to be aware, obviously, because you're travelling through agricultural landscape. You've got to be always on your toes for tractors and other agricultural machinery, especially this time of year when they're starting to get around to doing some of the harvest. So Triumph is just such a sweet bike to ride. Everything is so easy to use. Yeah, I think I've said it more than once. Such a relaxed ride, comfortable riding position. I am really enjoying it. So, yeah, I would highly recommend anybody that's looking for an all-round everyday bike, not looking for out-and-out speed or scratching or whatever, or an out-and-out adventure bike, then I'd recommend the Scrambler. So here we are coming to Blyth. Basically, Blyth sits on the crossroads between an east-west route that runs through eventually to Lincoln, Gainsborough out that way, and the old Great North Road, which we're crossing now. And because of its position, there are a lot of old pubs here. If you're looking for somewhere to eat, there's a massive selection. They date back to the coaching days, I guess, most of them. But we're going to continue heading east, heading out towards Retford, and that way before we turn north. So, but yeah, some great old buildings in Blyth, as well as some more modern ones. Okay, end of the Blyth Road. We're now turning down past the Bluebell Inn, which again, looking for somewhere to eat. That's just outside Retford. It's always had a good reputation for somewhere to stop and have a drink or a meal. Okay, but this is the road into Retford. Again, Retford's dates way back, but probably came into prominence when the railways came along, and it's been a market town for several hundred years now, and still worth a visit, although these days the roads take you around the outskirts rather than through the centre of the town, so we don't get to see much of old Retford in this video, but still is worth, if you're down this way, go and have a look. And if I can't remember what day market day is, but the market used to be well worth a visit as well. So this is coming out of Retford, the road taking us out, which again takes us back into some glorious winding roads through the countryside, but again still 50-mile-an-hour limits. So but one of the dangers with these roads, especially if you're not used to them, is because the countryside is really flat, the road can be deceptive, and very quickly you can come up on bends that tighten up or that you weren't expecting, because the road looks like it disappears straight line into the distance, but actually you've got a sequence of S-bends or whatever before you get to that bit of road. So it's worth taking your time and just enjoying the ride. Again, the controls on the Triumph fall easy to hand. It's sweet. Next junction we come to is the roundabout where to the right takes you to Gainsborough, and then on towards Lincoln. To the left takes you back to Bawtry, another very old medieval town. We're going to go straight on. The road would eventually take you to Goole, but we're going to take the road that follows the west bank of the Trent, and so it twists and winds following the route of the river really. Yeah, we're going straight on at this roundabout. Again, along this route, a lot of history that goes back to Anglo-Saxon times, to be fair. So again, off the roundabout, we get onto some more really enjoyable twisty roads, nice and flat, most of them well surfaced, although there's a few that leave a little bit to be desired, but through a sequence of little villages, towns along the way. So heading up, the next major point along the way will be Epworth, but we've got a few towns to go through before we get there, so yeah, taking our time. We didn't think we needed to rush on this ride, so it was a gentle meander, shall we say. Again, you can see I've tried to get a feel for the roads. There's a lot of these nice sweeping bends on these roads, and generally speaking visibility is good. You've just got to be aware that sometimes through some of the dips and sweeps you can get caught out by a bend that tightens up more than you expect or whatever. So yeah, here we go, just following, as I say, on the west bank of the river, which is across to our right, although you can't see it because the flood defences out this way are really good, but mean that you don't see the river. So right, coming over this bridge, we're coming into West Stockwith, and this pub on the left hand side, the waterfront, used to do a brilliant biker night on Thursday nights, and then it fell away during the COVID. They tried to start it back up again, but I don't know what happened. The last thing I heard, they had to stop doing them, and it looks like there's a sign up there that it's up for sale or for lease. So a shame. It was a good destination, sort of the right sort of distance for us to ride out, especially in the summer when the nights stayed light longer. So anyway. So back along the road, so there's quite a lot of these little villages along this road, and all of them seem to have really nice pubs serving decent value for money food. So you see a lot of the buildings probably 18th, 19th century. Mixed in with some modern ones, some building being done, and in between all of these little villages there's these again, as I say, and the roads are usually fairly quiet. You've got to be careful, you do find some trucks along them. As you can see, the weather was starting to close in. We did run into a little bit of rain a bit further down this road, but yeah, you've got to be careful because there are a few companies down here that run some bigger trucks, but generally speaking, sweeping roads with very little traffic. A good ride, a good road for a good ride out. There's the clouds coming in again. I was having trouble with the GoPro camera. Unfortunately, I didn't get any decent footage because the mount decided to shake itself and start to fall to bits. The next little village we're coming into, this is Houston Ferry. Used to be the ferry, where the ferry went across the river, surprisingly, but I had a friend that lived in Houston Ferry for a while. We're going to go past the bungalow that he used to live in on the left hand side coming up. There you go. But also I mentioned the pubs. The Crooked Billet here, marvellous pub. Used to do some, apparently it still does, some cracking meals. So, and then into the square at Houston Ferry before we go out the other side and head towards Epworth. You can see again a mix of sort of 18th, 19th century buildings generally, I would guess, looking at them. But again, back out onto the roads linking the villages, once again sweeping, reasonably well tarmacked, although the final few bends into Epworth leave a little bit to be desired, shall I say. But you can see there are some nice sweeping bends to enjoy on a bike. Yeah. Also, you can see we're starting to get a little bit of precipitation at this point. It never really got much more than dampening the roads. Didn't really spoil the ride. So, but here we are coming down into Epworth. Epworth has quite a long history. Again, it's a little market town, still laid out on its medieval plan, I would guess, and there's still quite a lot of old buildings in there. It's mentioned in the Domesday Book, but probably the most interesting fact about Epworth, if you like, is its connection with the Methodist movement, and it is a place of pilgrimage for people from all over the world, so it gets a lot of visitors. I believe there is a museum that's of interest to people that are looking into tracing their ancestors back to these parts, because many people went out from here as missionaries, etc. But yeah, it is a point of pilgrimage, shall we say, these days. But also, again, if you're in the area, well worth a visit, because some of the best restaurants and pubs in the area are in Epworth. We've tried most of them over the years, and they're well worth visiting a second time. So yeah, if you're looking for somewhere to eat, Epworth's a good destination as well. So coming out of Epworth, and basically we're now heading out towards Sandtoft and our final destination, which is the Happy Cafe. So the roads tend to get a little bit straighter from here, not quite as sweeping as we come out. We're still on the outskirts of Epworth at this point, but just showing the balance of the Triumph. It's slow speed riding on it is so easy, because the bike is well balanced and the controls so easy and fall to hand. So yeah, sweet bike to ride. Back in medieval times, a lot of this area was marshland. We're close to a place called the Isle of Axholme, which is mentioned in the Anglo-Saxon histories. So it was a lot of it was reclaimed and roads built across the reclaimed marshlands, etc. But more recently, the history of this area, in the Second World War, a lot of fighter bomber bases were built in this area, because the land is flat, and being on the eastern side of the UK obviously meant that they were in the right sort of location for flying out to Europe or to defend from German planes that were coming in to try and attack the industrial heartland of the United Kingdom. So along these roads these days, there's a lot of industrial estates that are being built, but the industrial estates basically have been built on the old runways and the old airfield. You will see, and we're coming up to a couple of buildings that were probably around at the time that this was still. I think this one was a bomber base out at Sandtoft, and the cafe is at the side of a runway, but these days it's used for private light aircraft. There's a bit of a flying school there, so yeah, to the left the industrial estate. We're turning in here to the Happy Cafe, and to the disappointment to find that we got here too late and the cafe was closed, so we had to find somewhere else to eat. But there you are. Hope you've enjoyed the video. As always, remember, I am the Barnsley Biker. Please subscribe. Just enjoy the videos. See you later.
Not looking promising, is it? No, that's not hopeful, is it?